So one of the to do with property developments with future life progression. I stayed with a friend, and she was in Dubai, and her house was on the edge of a like a huge estate, and it just looked out to the desert. I love the desert; it's so nice to look out. And I just had this vision of looking out there, and it looked like big soup bowls, like giant soup bowls. I'm thinking, why would there be giant soup bowls in the desert? And they had like a little design on them. And I also had the feeling that I bought two properties, like two apartments. And I stopped and I thought about it and thought, why am I not happy? You know, what is all this about? There was a lot more to it, which I'll tell you about another time, because I saw myself in a health issue, but I'll tell you about that another time. But at that moment, it just seemed like, why would there be giant soup bowls in the middle of the desert? And why am I not happy about owning two properties? Anyway, it was only a couple of years later we saw the construction turned up and they started to build. And what it was, the soup bowls were actually stadiums. It was Sports City, and they built this huge, and that was a huge stadium with that design on. And so I tapped in again, and I thought, what's going on with the apartments? I've got two apartments there, which I should be happy with. And when I tuned into it, I could see it was a lot of hassle renting them out, because it's a sports city. People are going to be coming and going. It wasn't that settled. And I wasn't really, it was breaking it. It was a lot of effort to break even. I wasn't making any money on it. And it was all a bit pointless. It was like, oh, another issue I've got to sort out with that, and it doesn't make me money. So yeah, sometimes you see whole developments, you go, that's going to be interesting. Other things we've seen is seen an area that's run down and suddenly seen it looking quite popular, gentrified, some people say. Lovely coffee shops popping up. We go, that's the place to buy. And I do this with property developers. We actually scan an area in the future to get insight into what areas are going to be up and coming long before the signs are physically there, long before everybody else knows. We scan years into the future and go, that's going to be good. Oh, I can see. We did it for one. There were some apartments going very cheap. This was overseas, holiday area, and we suddenly saw amazing hotels going up in that area. So we could see the whole area is going to be redeveloped. It was quite a bit of a rundown seaside resort. And they bought three apartments so cheaply, and they did them up. By the time all the hotels and the fancy restaurants showed up, they trebled their money. I think they more than trebled their money. Anyway, they were very, very happy. That's what we do with FLP. So take a peek. I'll lend you the recording.